Often when you elevate, you also separate. Hi, my name is Ali Schwaga. This is 10 Points to Ponder, where we like to talk about all the things that get you canceled: race, politics, Jesus, and manhood. Today, I want to talk about Black History Month. I've been meaning to do this for the last couple of days. So, as you know, February every year is Black History Month, and now Black History Month is being politicized in a couple of ways. First, Dolphins former head coach Brian Flores is commemorating Black History Month by suing the NFL for racial discrimination, although the reality is he just didn't get a job and has sour grapes and wants to use race as a means of getting some sort of revenge or getting some sort of sympathy, and wants to make himself a martyr rather than looking at himself, looking at why he got fired from the last job, and improving. The second reason that Black History Month is a big deal is that Black History Month is being used and was used just today. I'm speaking on February 3rd, 2022. Today, Douglas County schools in the state of Colorado, the teachers, at least about 1,000 of them, called in sick because they did not want the school board to remove a superintendent, and they didn't want changes to the curriculum that specifically were changes related to quote unquote teaching equity, which sounds like code word for critical race theory. They wanted to be unencumbered. They wanted no one to stop them from being able to teach that all white people are evil and all black people are oppressed, and unless you fall in line with dismantling the country and reject every single thing that perhaps might be good about this country and reject it as whiteness, then you are not doing the work that's necessary to stop racial inequality as they imagine it to be. So, I want to give you my perspective on Black History Month. I want to tell a story about the first Black History Month that I can remember. I am an immigrant to the United States. I came here when I was 5 years old and went to schools all throughout kind of the Denver metro area. And I remember going to my elementary school at the time and being like one of probably, 3 or 4 black students that were there in the elementary school. And so I was there watching these videos for Black History Month. And over they would show these videos of people being beaten, dogs being sicked on protesters, police officers using fire hydrants to shoot at black people, and all of these horrible black and white images of black people being brutalized. It was so horrible, these images that we ended up seeing in celebration of Black History Month, that I can remember I was sitting in the classroom, and I think I was seated in the front at my desk. And as the class ended, every white student in the class went to my desk. They actually formed a line in front of my desk. And every white student came up and said, "I'm sorry, Ali. I'm sorry, Ali. I'm sorry, Ali." And what were they sorry for? Ultimately, because of this video and the way that it was taught, they were sorry for being white. That's the fundamental problem with Black History Month. We don't simply weave it in as a part of American history, a chapter maybe that we'd like to forget and move past. We don't focus on the positive parts of Black history, what Black achievements have occurred, and we always start with slavery. We never talk about how there were empires in Africa. We never talk about what was going on. We don't even talk about the impetus for the slave trade. Like, sadly, as someone who's Nigerian and immigrated here to the US, perhaps I should also apologize because probably some of my ancestors sold other Black people into slavery. That's a distinct possibility. Why is that? Because the time in which a European or white person could stay in sub-Saharan Africa was about less than a year because of malaria. So they couldn't just hang out over there. They had to enlist the help of other Black people to enslave those Black people and send them across. And usually those were people of different tribes, people that were hated, people that lost wars. And so they ended up being those who would be enslaved, which is another part of Black history that we don't like to talk about. We also don't like to talk about how slavery actually ended. It was ended by strong and superior numbers of European whites who, after in England, they determined that they would no longer engage in this institution of slavery, would actually go out and find slave ships. We never applaud all of those who fought, all those military Navy men who fought to end the transatlantic slave trade after there was revival in the hearts of the people of England and they realized that slavery was evil and wrong. A great movie about this would be Amazing Grace, that talks about William Wilberforce and his battle for years and years, his life's work ending slavery in British Parliament. And in it talks about John Newton, who's the guy that wrote the song Amazing Grace, who used to be a slave trader and repented of his evil. And so the problem with Black History Month, as it is here in the US, is that it's simply another means of propagandizing white guilt. It's elevating Black people, just like Black Lives Matter, right? Elevates one thing in order to separate. It elevates so that ultimately it can create a binary society. What they want is a class of oppressed and people that feel and are guilty about being oppressors. Oppressors, so that then you can implement Marxism, implement a new system, and say that everything about America is flawed. We've got teachers that are fighting for the right to teach Black students that they are lesser, and the only way that they're going to get any sort of success in life is at the hands of white people. And we've got teachers in Douglas County, right, fighting so that they can teach all their white students to be ashamed of their skin color, because their skin color is oppressive. If we, again, wanted to truly teach history, then we talk about how slavery actually ended, how Martin Luther King was able to argue to the entire nation that racial discrimination was not good. He was able to do that because he was able to use the same principles, the same foundation that's found in the Declaration of Independence, right? That all men are created equal. He was able to use that and argue that if that's the case, then why do we have this disparity? Why do we have these issues? between black and white people? Why are they being mistreated? Why are we creating laws that make black people second-class citizens? He did not argue for equity. He argued for equality. It was racist Johnson who then went and argued for equity because he felt that black people were inferior and they could not achieve any sort of success without the help of white people. And so he wanted to make equality a fact rather than allow people the opportunity to be successful, which is all that people have asked for classically. When you study people like Frederick Douglass, when you study people like Booker T. Washington, they wanted black people to be able to have the opportunity to uplift themselves, the same opportunity that is afforded to everyone in America. And now in 2022, we're trying to act like it's 1942. This is what's so disgusting about what they're trying to do with Black History Month. They shouldn't even have Black History Month, if you want to know my honest opinion. We should have American history taught properly. Have people understand the truths of the Declaration of Independence. Understand where the Declaration comes from. Understand people like Robespierre and Montesquieu, and understand Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. If you understand that, then the sky's the limit, because then you understand that this country, this experiment, is an experiment in human freedom and self-government. Not entitlement. It's self-government. It's you taking it upon yourself to build the skills necessary to succeed in this environment. Utilizing, not abusing the freedoms, but utilizing the freedoms that you've been given. I want to end by thinking about this from a biblical perspective. Israelites, did they celebrate being in bondage? Like when they taught their children, was the focus on, man, Pharaoh beat us up and we suffered all of these things and we were brutalized for 400 years? Is that what we see in the scriptures? Because that's not what I see in the scriptures. I see Israel celebrating the fact that they were liberated, and celebrating the hand of God, and celebrating how God used people like Moses and Joshua to liberate them and send them into the promised land. I see God's people celebrating the fact that they were able to survive. I see God's people celebrating the miracles that brought them all the way here to today. Not wallowing in the sorrow, not trying to get some sort of sense of, moral authority or superiority through the pity of other people. They never sought pity. They trusted God. And that, if you're going to teach Black history, that needs to be the narrative. How many people achieved, how people overcame all sorts of barriers to be here and stand strong today. We need to remember what God did. We need to understand that children are not responsible for the sins of the father. And lastly, we need to forget the past and press on to the upward call of God and the individual works that he's called each and every one to. That would be the Black history message. Those are my thoughts. What do you think? Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. My name is Ollie Schwaga. This has been 10 Points to Ponder.